began to smoke, he held out the pipe to the four directions, an offering to the four spirits that guarded the world. When he offered the pipe to the spirit of the west, the Thunder Keeper had answered. Thunder, boho-ho, had crashed through the valley. He'd waited for the thunder to subside before he'd turned to the sandstone cliff and raised the pipe to the figure of the guardian spirit of the valley. "Remember me," he spoke softly to the spirit. "I am poor. Every morning I will be poor. Take pity on me." Only after he'd made the offerings did he begin to smoke. The smoke had curled upward toward the sky, lifting his prayers to the spirits. A sense of peace had come over him. He felt strong with confidence that the spirits would honor his quest. Since then he dozed inside the circle, then awakened and prayed and smoked before dozing again, waiting, not expecting, simply waiting, for the time his guardian spirit might choose to come in a vision and bestow power upon him. To receive power in a vision, that would be the strongest power of all. Then he would have the strength to follow the Arapaho way. He could live a good life. He wasn't sure when he became aware of the light flowing through the trees on the mountainside below, but now it caught his attention. "Be attentive to all things," the Notonehi's voice in his head. He tried to concentrate on the moving light, emptying his mind of all other thoughts and possibilities. He felt his heart knocking against his ribs. He must be ready. The spirit was approaching. Chapter 1. Rain scattered like shotgun pellets over the roof of St. Francis Church. From the distance came the sound of thunder, diffused and muted. Every time the front door had opened, a blast of cool, moist air rattled the door to the confessional and swept through the cracks into the small cubicle. Father John O'Malley slipped a bookmark between the pages of Indian Country to mark his place and flexed his long legs into the shadows beyond the tiny circle of light from the lamp behind his chair. The rungs of the wooden chair dug into his back muscles. He should move one of the upholstered chairs from his office to the confessional, he reminded himself. The trouble was, he always forgot, until the next time he heard confessions. Just inside the door was another straight-backed chair, so close he could shove it sideways with his boot. There was always a penitent who preferred the informality of talking to the priest face-to-face in the sacrament of reconciliation. But most of his parishioners liked the traditional anonymity of the confessional, whispering sins and failings, remorse and prayers from the tiny cubicle on the other side of the metal grate in the paneled wall to his left. Arapahos were traditional. He glanced at his watch. Almost 4:30. He'd been in the confessional since 3. Every Saturday afternoon between 3 and 4:30, either he or whatever assistant priest happened to be assigned to St. Francis Mission on the Wind River Reservation could be found in the confessional. Usually they took turns. Today had been the turn of his new assistant, Father Don Ryan, but something had come up. Father Don had to go out. Could Father John possibly hear confessions? It had been 15 minutes since the last penitent. Father John stood up and stamped his boots on the thin carpet, trying to work the stiffness out of his legs. He was about to shrug into the jacket that he'd draped over the back of his chair when he heard the front door open. A stream of chilled air filtered into the confessional. He sat back down. Finally, the door on the other side of the confessional opened and a bulky, dark shadow slid across the grate. There was a noisy intake of breath, then another. Father John felt his senses switch to alert, the way they had when he was a kid back in Boston, coming home from baseball practice after dark, spotting a gang of tough older boys under the street lamp down the block. He said, "Do you wish to make a confession?" "Yeah, I want to confess." A man's voice, the slightest Midwestern accent. The man was not Arapaho. "Please begin." Father John bent his head toward the grate. In the dim patchwork of light, he could make out the protruding nose, the hooded eyes. The rest of the face was lost in shadow. "I gotta tell somebody what happened." The man spoke hurriedly. "But it's gotta be, what do you call it? Confidential. Know what I mean? I remembered going to confession when I was a kid, so I come here. You aren't gonna go blabbing, are you?" For a moment, Father John considered explaining the conditions required for a valid sacrament.